Okay, so I'm here to talk about a crowdsourced law reform process that we have been working on in Finland. The case study that I will be talking about is a crowdsourced off-road traffic law. So basically, that law regulates where you can ride your snowmobile and also where you can ride your ATV, how fast you can ride, how old you have to be in order to ride that snowmobile, and so on. And this process is initiated by the government of Finland, by the Minister of the Environment, and also the Committee for the Future in the Finnish Parliament. It's a pilot project to test how crowdsourcing could work in policymaking. So I'm going to talk about a little bit, describe the process, and then report about some most maybe interesting research findings. Yeah, I think that's what they like the most. Yeah. Okay, so this is better. It's good that you see what I'm. It is better. Yeah. Okay. Let's go for this. Yeah, thanks for the heads up. So basically, first a definition about crowdsourcing. How we define crowdsourcing here, it's an open call online for anybody to participate in a task that a crowdsourcer, an organizer of a crowdsourcing initiative, has posted online. And in our case, what was crowdsourced? So we crowdsourced ideas and experiences that the Finnish people had about off-road traffic, the current law regulating off-road traffic, and also how they experience off-road traffic as neighbors, as recreational snowmobile riders or professional users of off-road traffic. And how this crowdsourcing initiative happened was that we had an online platform where people could submit their ideas, and we had granularized the tasks so that we would ask specific questions about, for instance, age limit, about speed regulation, and so on. And so why we did this crowdsourcing initiative was to extend the knowledge base that's typically used in a lawmaking process, where we use internal experts in the government, and also the interest groups experts and so on, and some research information too. But we wanted to now do a knowledge search in the knowledge neighborhoods of the citizens, the Finnish citizens, basically. And how we designed the process was that we had 3 different phases where the people could participate in. In the first phase, we asked them to submit their problems and concerns regarding the off-road traffic law. In the second phase, we asked the people to solve the problems that they have reported about in the first phase. So we went from this kind of whining phase into a more constructive phase where we injected some design thinking, methodology, creative problem solving, and so. And in the third phase, we asked the crowd to evaluate the ideas that were presented earlier in the process. And for the evaluation, we built a specific tool called Crowd Consensus, where the crowd was able to rate each other's ideas by using 3 different methods: ranking, scoring, and comparing. And what was interesting in the evaluation results in terms of democratic process was that we were able to, with an algorithmic, with the clustering algorithm, we were able to detect 4 maturity clusters, which you see in this picture, the bigger chunk of edges and nodes. And then in the smaller chunk, you see a minority cluster whose idea preferences differed significantly from the maturity. And why is this important? Well, when we talk about crowdsourcing, we talk about self-selected crowd. It's not a representative sample of Finnish citizens. We are not talking about polling, like in statistical sense. So the question is, what is the statistical representativeness of the results then in the evaluation process, when basically everybody can basically vote for the ideas that they like. But this type of a tool resolves this problem because we can actually detect what the opinions are. The volume of opinion doesn't matter in this sense, but the actual differences matter and the clusters. And also in terms of the evaluation, we set up a distributed global expert panel who are judging the ideas, reviewing the ideas based on 4 criteria that we set. And then a couple of findings in terms of the users, the participants. So we did extensive user interviews, participant interviews, to figure out why they participants and how they participate and how they experience this type of crowdsourced law reform process. So this person in the picture, Jaska, he is one of the most active participants. He lives in northern Finland. He participated by using that little tablet device that he has in his hand. And for the participants, they perceived this type of a crowdsource initiative as a new way to participate in policymaking, and they felt that it's very convenient for them because they can actually participate from wherever they are, and especially in rural areas, which are located far from the decision-making hubs in Finland. And also what we learned was that crowdsourcing creates spaces for learning, so the participants learned from each other's, from their experiences. And also what we learned that because our process wasn't designed to support deliberation in a way, like we were looking for knowledge and information, and we didn't incentivize deliberation and argument exchange at all, but that happened organically. And also what was interesting is that there was like a natural strive for consensus among the participants. Consensus wasn't incentivized at all either. So, but towards the end of the crowdsourcing process, the participants said that they want to propose ideas that are constructive and inclusive in terms of all the stakeholders in this law, because they think that those ideas will be most likely considered for the law. And also the final thing that we found in our research was that, which is very interesting, is that the crowd is not delusional. So, and what I mean by this is that the crowd, when they participate, they don't have an illusion of participation that one idea, their idea will be taken to the law as it is. But they understand that the ideas that they submit, it's like raw material that will be worked on further. And also they don't think that, because they understand that there's like multitude of other voices that has to be heard to the law. And also they understand that the final end product will be a compromise. And where we are right now is that the Ministry of the Environment is considering how to use all this crowd-created input, hundreds of ideas, in the law reform. And in this phase, we are experiencing the challenge of the differences in citizens' knowledge and expert knowledge, and the trust, like from both sides of these knowledge spaces, like. So we are trying to figure out how to create a notion of blended knowledge so that the citizen knowledge can be useful and can be seen as raw material from the expert sides internally in the government. And this is the team, finally. So apart from me, we have Professor Ellen Landemore from Yale University, Professor Ashish Goel at Stanford, and his PhD student David Lee, who built the crowd consensus tool. And if you're interested, so I'm just giving like a snapshot of the process and some research findings. So I'm happy to talk more about this after the presentation. And also we have a booth stand there just by the hemisphere. So welcome and ask your questions. Also, you can email me later. Thank you.